29th, 2008, my family and I received a heartbreaking phone call from my Uncle Steve stating how his son had died in a tragic drowning accident. My uncle, who lives in Colorado, was not able to cope with the loss of his son and began struggling with severe depression, anxiety, and had troubles falling asleep at night. Not only did he suffer emotionally, but he also had terrible back pain and body pain. My Uncle Steve was eventually prescribed by a doctor to use marijuana to help lessen the emotional and physical pain he endured every day. I have been researching a considerable amount of time about the use of medicinal marijuana and have found many reasons as to why it is beneficial for individuals who may be suffering. My uncle is only one person out of many who are suffering emotionally and physically. Many of you can think of at least one person who is struggling to cope with depression or anxiety, living in pain in the hospital, or trying to stay strong while dealing with the negative side effects from cancer treatments. Even though medicinal marijuana is different than normal marijuana, the many people abuse, it is still not legal in most states. Marijuana is safer than alcohol and tobacco, and it is also a very useful drug when one is struggling with a sickness or pain. If marijuana were to be legalized, it would not only have many side effects on the user, but would have positive effects on society as well. Along with medicinal marijuana being made different than marijuana individuals would buy on the street, it is also used for better purposes. Marijuana that is prescribed by a doctor is made in many different ways than the normal weed people would sell. Medicinal marijuana has seeds that are different than normal marijuana. It also has high CBD content, which makes it medical according to CropKingSeeds.com. Marijuana that is sold on the streets contains a higher THC content, which gives individuals the high feeling, unlike medicinal marijuana. According to the UnitedPatientsGroup.com, marijuana also contains a special compound called cannabinoids. Cannabinoids help to relieve pain, anxiety, nausea, and even slows down the spread of cancer. Cannabinoids, also called CBD, may not have the psychoactive effect like THC does, but it has beneficial effects. CBD reduces pain and muscle spasms, according to Greatist.com on an article called Here's What Actually Happens When You Smoke Weed. Although recreational marijuana has a high level of THC, medicinal marijuana can also contain the same amount. THC, the opposite of the compound CBD, is the most psychoactive compound, meaning it affects the brain the most. Like I said, THC is the compound that gives an individual of the feeling of being high. Therefore, the more THC that is in a weed, the stronger the high will be. THC also increases the dopamine levels in our brain, which is our pleasure sensor. People who suffer from chronic pain or are going through treatments that cause pain normally use marijuana with high levels of THC because it gives them a feeling of pleasure. Some people who have AIDS or HIV have trouble feeling hungry. They can also be prescribed to use marijuana because it'll boost their appetite. Unlike what many of us have heard about marijuana, along with people abusing it, there are some types that simply cannot give you a high. LeafScience.com stated that many people use this kind of marijuana when suffering from insomnia or depression. The way marijuana works is researched often by many doctors. The simplest way to explain why weed works so well is this. When our body experiences pain, inflammation, or stress, we release a neurotransmitter called endocannabinoid. Because the cannabinoids in the marijuana looks and does the same thing as the kind our body makes, they're able to connect with the receptors in our brain to help lessen the severity of pain or stress one may experience. Legalizing weed would be extremely beneficial to the many people who are suffering from cancer, diseases, pain, and emotional sickness. There are many reasons people are prescribed to use marijuana, along with the different ways an individual can use marijuana. Like I said previously, medicinal marijuana can be used for many different reasons. A few reasons people may ask to use marijuana may be from muscle spasms caused by multiple sclerosis, a muscle-eating disease, nausea from cancer chemotherapy, poor appetite and weight loss from chronic illnesses, HIV or nerve pain, seizure disorders, and Crohn's disease, which destroys bowels and causes diarrhea. Along with marijuana helping with physical pain, it can also help with other things. Marijuana has been proven to help migraines, slow down tumor growth, prevent Alzheimer's, and for us girls, can help relieve PMS, which includes headaches, cramps, bloating, and fluid retention. Along with any other drug prescribed to help an individual, there is always going to be negative side effects. There are different ways individuals can use marijuana. People can smoke, heat it up to get the active ingredients, eat it in cookies or candy, and also take it as a liquid extract. Heating up marijuana is called vaping, which is less harmful than smoking. Marijuana has been proven to be very beneficial for many researchers, doctors, and scientists, which is another reason Iowa should legalize it. Not only does marijuana help the individual who has prescribed it, but it also helps the society too. There are also regulations and rules in each state who has legalized weed, whether that is for medicinal or recreational use. Colorado, for example, has many statistics about how it has benefited their state. According to the website collective-evolution.com, an article about the legalization of marijuana in Colorado stated that there has been about a 10% decrease in overall crime rate and a 5.2% decrease in violent crime. The state of Colorado has also gained $10 million in taxes from retail sale in just the first 4 months of legalizing weed. Along with gaining money, they are also continuing to gain thousands of jobs, giving almost 10,000 people a job involved with the marijuana industry and 1,000 to 2,000 employment increase in only the first few months. Since weed became legal in Colorado, they dropped criminal penalties for certain marijuana offenses. Colorado has estimated that they will save roughly around $12 to $40 million in the span of 1 year just from ending arrests for marijuana possession. Many people are against weed because they view pot smokers as lazy, low class, and unmotivated. What they don't realize is that there are people like that who don't smoke pot as well. There are many celebrities who smoke weed and they are doing financially better than most people, along with having a great job. Many people, including myself, did not know the states that have legalized marijuana have rules and regulations. The most important rule that states have is individuals cannot drive under the influence. According to ColoradoPotGuide.org, if officers suspect one is under the influence, he can do a blood test. People also cannot smoke weed publicly or in the open. If done so, they will be ticketed just like drinking in public. People are also allowed to have an open container in their car. People are also not allowed to have an open container in their car that consumes marijuana. Marijuana is not allowed to be in the passenger seat, and people who are riding with the driver cannot be high or smoking. If an individual gets picked up, a drug infraction shows up on their record, which can affect getting a job in the future. Rules and regulations can differ in each state, but these are some of the core laws that stay the same throughout all states. Each state wants to keep their members safe along with providing them with the help they need. Medicinal marijuana is often thought as bad and wrong, but there are many reasons as to why it is not. The legalization of marijuana can not only help someone dramatically who is suffering from severe depression, anxiety, body pain, cancer, or other diseases, but it is also beneficial to the society by increasing jobs, gaining more money, and paying less taxes. Now that you have learned the many benefits medicinal marijuana can have on an individual, you can have a better understanding as a whole. Legalizing the use for medicinal marijuana in Iowa may someday help your mother or father, or even yourself in the future.